Hello everyone! This story is part of a series titled The Seattle Jijinas. I have always believed people come into our lives for a reason. And as I've grown older, I find it fascinating how one small act of kindness can have far-reaching effects, sometimes far beyond what I could have ever imagined. Welcome to Storytime with QMARS. My name is Kayo Jijina, and this is my story titled The Algebra Connection. I hope you enjoy it. Iran Zamin, the 10th grade. The instructor picked up the longest piece of chalk from the remnants that sat sprinkled on the blackboard ledge. The fibrous eraser, caked with chalk dust, waited its turn. Algebraic equations began to populate the board from left to right, growing progressively smaller as she ran out of space. "Can I erase this part? Everyone got it?" For some reason, the sound of chalk making contact with the blackboard always reminded me of the chickens I would see shopping at the poultry merchant in Tehran, pecking for food placed on metal troughs that hung outside their cages. Using pencil and 3-hole paper, I scribbled verbatim as efficiently as I could everything she wrote on the board, hoping by the time I got home and sat down at the homework table, the understanding would come. Rarely, if ever, it did. We were solving for x and for y in ways that made no sense to me. Sometimes there came a pause as she turned around and faced the class, which was followed by the proverbial question, "Is everyone following along? Is everyone getting this?" My head would drop, hoping she did not call on me. I never had the guts to say, "No, I'm totally lost. Could you please go back to the beginning?" Usually, the same 1 or 2 students would shout out, "Yes," signaling the instructor to continue. When done, she'd return the piece of chalk, whatever was left of it, back to the ledge, dust her hands, and ask, "Did everyone get that?" That's when 1 or 2 classmates would raise their hands, and the barrage of questions would start. Some textbooks had answers to the odd or even questions in the back. The chapter we had just completed never seemed to have enough detail for the types of questions we were being asked to solve. Within a week or 2, I would resign myself to another year of staring at blank walls, daydreaming, or doodling pictures of enchanted frogs playing in a pond hoping to be kissed by a princess. If St. Nicholas had to pass an algebra class before he could deliver presents, we would all find coal in our stockings come Christmas morning. One day, our instructor announced her happy news. "For midterms, each of you will be assigned one of the theorems, and you will have to get up in front of the class and prove it. It will count as 25% of your grade." Sorry, but this type of news just didn't excite me. It was one thing to suffer in silence and end up with a poor grade at the end of the year, another to get up in front of everyone and create a spectacle of myself. Nuri was a fellow student in my class, and as we hung out, he turned friend. His family was from Turkey. I was fascinated by Nuri's ability to draw the human face. Although he said the eyes were a struggle for him, in my book, his art was exceptional. Once I had asked him to teach me to draw, and he agreed to do so. It did not take me long to realize people sketching was not a career path I should follow. Eventually, I talked him into selling me a copy of one of his art pieces for 5 tomans, the equivalent of 50 cents. Nuri noticed the struggle I was facing with algebra class, probably because I was quite vocal about it. He approached me and asked, "Kayo, would you like to learn algebra? I can teach it to you. It is actually pretty easy once you get the hang of it." Nuri was talented, as I was skeptical. I had tried to learn it for myself, and even Dad tried to teach me what little he could, but algebra would not sink in. Math and I just didn't get along. Considering the future that awaited me, I decided to accept Nuri's offer. Over the next 2 weeks, We would get together each day during lunch in a quiet corner and get to work. This time, instead of watching someone scribble on a board and taking frantic notes, I was the one solving the problems, as Nuri, ever so patiently, coached me. We went over the same equations again and again until Nuri sounded like a broken record. Then one day, something clicked. It was like staring at something written in Arabic, and all of a sudden the letters turned into English. Some people called it having a breakthrough. To this day, as I look back, I can see the two of us seated in the back of an empty classroom with Nuri on my right, a binder on my desk, a pen in my hand, and suddenly algebraic phrases began to form. Before I knew it, I was raising my hand and answering questions in class. It was a whole new side of education I had not experienced before. Fast forward to 1980, Northgate State in Seattle. I found myself in college sitting alongside my good friend Daniel, the guy I had first met at Ballard High School. Kayo, I don't know if I can make it through pharmacy program. I'm flunking algebra, and I may have to drop out of the pharmacy tech program. College might not be for me. I knew the life that waited for Daniel if he did not complete the course, and it was not a good one. He was just beginning to get his life together, and I wanted to see him succeed. As I listened, an image of Nuri and I in the classroom appeared, and I remembered the kindness he had shown me when I was struggling. It was time to pay it forward. Daniel, would you like to learn algebra? I can teach it to you. It's actually pretty easy once you get the hang of it, I said, remembering Nuri's magic words. Think in opposites. Just like Nuri had done with me, Daniel and I found a quiet place to study, and within a few weeks, he had it down and went on to pass his pharmacy finals. Fast forward to 1983. Northgate State, Seattle. I was enrolled in a 2-year vocational electronics program and had an instructor by the name of Tom Lamb. Tom reminded me of Tim Taylor, the television miniseries Tool Time. The way he looked, talked, and carried himself, it might have been his rough-cut twin. Tom taught us simplified algebra, and I had him for my electronics class, where we built circuits from truth tables. Tom was a cheerleader of sorts, always there, feeding us large doses of confidence. You guys can do it! You are smarter than 99% of the engineering graduates of the UW. You can troubleshoot circuits. University students can't even begin to understand. All they do is learn theory. They have no practical skills, and when they graduate, they can't do anything. You guys have it down. There is more than one way to learn. Most people are kinesthetic learners. You learn by doing. Kinesthetic learner? Is that how I learned? By doing? Is that why watching an instructor scribble on the board made no sense to me until I tried it for myself? Once I understood that I did not learn like everyone else, I was able to conquer my fear of college. I understood I had two choices: learn by doing or memorizing, and note cards became my friend. Going through college, I was able to memorize entire textbooks, regurgitate the information, and spit it out during a midterm or a final. Of course, after 2 weeks, it was all gone. Eventually, I completed my electronics degree from Northgate State, an Associate of Arts degree from Shoreline, and a bachelor's from the University of Washington. Truth of the matter was, college was simply a door opener for me. The skills I needed, I learned while doing my job, and I met my personal goal of paying for my own college education. Many years later, I had 3 sons, and one of them was named Nicholas.